What is going on, everybody? This is episode 819 of Pop Culture Crisis. My name is Brett, and I'm here once again with my co-host. Introduce yourself, please.
Hello, Crisis Actors. It's Mary. It just occurred to me that I brought you cake today. I made a cake, and I forgot that maybe we could do a taste test.
Well, maybe we do it at the end of the show.
At the end of the show?
At the end of the show. What
if
type
we
of
have
cake
enough
is it?
time. It's called Swedish Visiting Cake. And it's like an almond croissant, but a cake. And it's pretty easy, actually, but tastes amazing. It's not really your type of thing, though, I fear.
If I'm being completely honest, my first question is, where did you get this Tupperware? This is like...
Oh, it's incredible, yeah.
This is like top of the line.
I love it.
Like, you could brain somebody with this thing and knock them out.
No, I mean, but it's great.
Yeah.
I love it. I think I got it on Amazon. I don't remember
Wait,
now.
what about this makes it not my type of cake? The chopped nuts?
I just feel like you're like into like candy more than like pastries. I don't know.
I mean, Olivia's a baker, so there's plenty of pastries in the house.
Okay,
so,
we'll get a rating from Brett
right.
maybe once we have enough time at the end of the show.
Okay, we'll do it. I can't tell. Is the cake just really dense, or is this packaging just like the heaviest thing in the world?
The cake is pretty dense.
Okay. All right. We'll give it a check there. Guys, hit the like button on this video. 1 like equals 1 piece of cake. That's what I'm saying today.
Okay.
1 like equals 1 piece of cake, and then you can eat that piece of cake. Hit the like button on the video, subscribe to the channel if you are new here, and remember to share the videos out with your friends and your family and your loved ones, everybody that you know. The more people that you share the content with, the faster this channel can grow, which is always a good thing. So what are we getting into today? Well, I have bad news for everybody. Amanda Bynes has decided to join OnlyFans.
What are you talking about? This is great news for literally everyone on the planet. Amanda Bynes joining OnlyFans. You can just feel the energy in the air shifted.
I don't think
this is
that's
great news.
This is a horrible idea. This is a horrible idea.
And somehow, I still blame Dan Schneider.
It's his fault.
It's all his fault.
It's what, 20 years later?
It's been a while, but it's still his fault.
Well, we'll talk about it. There's a caveat to that, but we'll get into it. You're going to have to stick around if you want to find out what that caveat is. So we're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about, well, there has been a witchcraft influencer / human trafficker who's been exposed, arrested, and jailed. If that sounds like an entire whole journey, it is. So we're going to get into it. Her name is Kat Torres, and...
this is like the influencer scandal to end all influencer scandals, I feel.
Yeah, well, we'll talk about it. It's a very interesting one. And then we're also going to talk about these poor saps who married women who are humiliating them by showing more love and affection to their dogs than they do to the man that they said that they were supposedly in love with.
They identify more as dog moms than wives.
It is...
or even human mothers. Like these women, one of them has human children of her own, and she calls them her mouth breathers because she hates her own children. She loves her dog over her children.
I mean, it's a weird type of reverse where I feel like it's actually not true and that they're just doing it for social. I'd like to believe that they're just clout chasing and they actually love their kids, but either way, it humiliates the family. So
it doesn't even matter at the end of the day whether it's satire or not.
So sad. All right, we got that. We got a bunch of other stuff. If you're ready, we can just go ahead and get started. Are you ready?
Yeah, let's go.
All right, let's go.
Jenna Ortega is facing backlash at the moment for working with one of her Wednesday co-stars named Percy Hines-White. He actually got taken out of the series after its first season, where he was her love interest in the show, because he received Me Too allegations of a dubious nature. They're now even deleted from the original Twitter posts that accused him. They're gone.
Most of the stuff has been pulled from the internet.
It's so hard to even track how it started, what was the evidence, but here's the condensed version. Back in 2023, Percy Hines-White was accused of SA and racism in social media posts from an anonymous user.
I love how those are put on like the same scale.
I know. Yeah, like, he said the N-word versus
being a jerk versus
abusing someone. Yeah, like, I don't think that those things are the same, but okay. A Twitter user claimed that Percy Hines White had assaulted her at a party that he hosted in Toronto, and that he had assaulted other women, alleging that he and his friends were known for throwing parties, providing alcohol and drugs to underage girls in order to hook up with them. He responded to those allegations later on in 2023, saying that this was a campaign of misinformation. He said he had never met this person. He ended up receiving death threats, and his family was doxxed. It was insane. I can't believe that it happened that late in the game for Me Too witch hunts, but it did.
I mean, it dovetailed more into the racism as well.
Yeah. Although Netflix never openly condemned or addressed any of this, they still decided to kick him off of the show, even though many people wanted him to stay.
We have a 20 from Weary Traveler, says, my queen will never be canceled in my heart.
Yeah, no, I don't think this is valid grounds to cancel Jenna Ortega, of course. But she's co-starring with him once again in a new movie called Winter, Spring, Summer, or Fall. It is a rom-com, or it appears to be a coming-of-age rom-com.
I already see one problem with this, and that's the trailer is like 3 minutes long.
Yeah, but it's kind of charming. I think you'll see.
It's also going to be dumped on streaming because it says in select theaters, not nationwide.
Right, which is interesting because she would be able to draw people into seats.
I mean, Death of a Unicorn didn't do that great.
This is an ensemble cast, but like, I don't know. I think she has some star power.
I'm not sure about that. So I think that she has star power in the sense that she's one of the most recognizable names, but getting people to theaters is not the same thing as getting people to watch your streaming show or movie. I don't.
That's
like
fair, yeah.
Like if you want to say she sold Beetlejuice, I don't think she sold Beetlejuice. I think she might have helped, but I don't think that people went to Beetlejuice necessarily just to see her. I think that Michael Keaton is why you go see Beetlejuice.
I guess she has more hype online.
Scream, you could say that she is Scream, but it's not like Scream was an original franchise that she, that there's a built-in audience for Scream.
So is there for the Addams Family.
Correct.
As well.
So, but I'm saying like as a draw for streaming shows, yeah, but Miller's Girl, did anybody go see Miller's Girl? I don't think anyone
Honestly,
went
I forgot the name of it until you just said.
Yeah, like nobody went and saw Miller's Girl. Like, I think it's one of those ones where she has... she's influenced stan culture for actors in a way where the likes of her and Melissa Barrera are held in a certain regard by people who say stuff like mother.
Yes.
And she ate
yes.
on X. And that's not the same thing as having legit star power. But, as a streaming release, it could do perfectly fine.
Well, I want to know your thoughts on this after you see the trailer.
All right.
Nothing can happen between us.
Men don't ever approach women anymore.
This is not realistic at all, especially if we're talking about
I'm sorry. Am I supposed to be?
teenagers.
I don't mean to break decorum. Should I be pausing or should I just let it play?
Do what you want to do, Brett. If you feel
pulled all their funding.
He would say to her, well, you're a shoo-in because you're brown.
Yeah, as long as you're not so Adam Rodriguez was in like the original in like CSI Miami, and it's weird watching somebody from like that I in my 20s watched and stuff now play like the dad of a girl of a woman. She's not a teenager. She's playing a teenager.
Okay.
Am I an idiot? I don't know if I can watch anymore. It's so
not
bad.
giving what it's supposed to give.
It's really bad. Like every single one, and she's not innocent in this. Like every single one of them looks like it's the first take, and they didn't cut the part after the director says action. And then you wait. They're all doing millennial pauses before saying stuff. It's awful.
Maybe they filmed this after the allegations. Now that I think about it, because it is awkward.
They're
chemistry.
They're trying to make her like what? A manic pixie dream girl with this music?
No.
With this music?
But it's not her character, though. Her character is like the nerdy goody two-shoes who doesn't want to date the guy who's not going to college because she wants to go to Harvard, and she does everything her parents say.
Sorry, chat. You can hate me, or you can love me because we're not watching the rest of this. This is terrible.
Love has a way of sneaking up on you.
Oh.
So,
anyways, people are upset.
Right.
Which is weird because actually I saw one article that's trying to like talk you out of it. Jenna Ortega fans are delighted by her reunion with Wednesday co-star in a new movie. Which Wednesday fans are those?
What are you talking about?
Not the Stans.
That's not real.
Yeah.
All of her fans are pissed because they're chronically online and they are Gen Z. This one quote tweeted and said, "My jaw dropped. Wow, he is so effing ugly." Can't argue with that personally. For reference, everyone, they filmed this 5 billion years ago. Jenna isn't promoting it, and she allegedly took away her executive producer credit on this. It will definitely flop badly and fall under the radar, as it should. Percy should be in jail, and he's hideous. That's it. So they're saying that Jenna Ortega was planning to be listed as an executive producer on this movie until the allegations came out about Percy Hines White, and then she took a step back. I don't know how they're going to do any promotion for this movie if, like, as co-stars, if she's refusing to affiliate.
I mean, again, if it's a streaming movie, they don't even need to do promotion.
They're not even gonna.
It. They don't even need to.
Well, I don't know. If it's select theaters,
Just dump it on streaming.
Yeah. And people have assumed that they filmed this after the allegations. I doubt that that's true. But I recently saw this post of the Stranger Things cast hanging out. Noah Schnapp was in the picture. And Noah Schnapp is disliked widely as well by Stan Twitter because he is a Zionist. And they tend to have watermelon emojis in their screen names. And there were a lot of people who were pissed at the rest of the Stranger Things cast for still being friends with him after he's been outspokenly pro-Israel. So, in contrast, the cast of Wednesday has completely cut ties with Percy Hines White over his allegations. But I think to compare the two is, in and of itself, just absolutely insane. Someone being ideologically a Zionist is not the same thing as someone being a rapist at all. Those things are just not comparable.
Also, even if you don't support Israel, it benefits you in Hollywood to be friends with people that do.
That is also true. Yes. And this quote tweet said, "None of them have been spotted anywhere near Percy Hines White since 2023. No liking posts, no comments, no paparazzi photos, nothing. The second Jenna became a producer for Wednesday season 2, his ass was gone. All these clowns cannot relate."
He has worked consistently, albeit not like a ton of stuff since 2022. He's got 15 episodes from something called Pretty Hard Cases. Night for Night was just a short. That was the only thing he did in 2023. My Old Ass. I don't know what that is, but he plays a character named Chad. And,
he is not a Chad.
And Winter, Spring, Summer, or Fall, which is maybe one of the worst names I've ever seen.
It is a terrible name.
I mean, just get rid of the "or" if you're going to name all the seasons.
Yeah.
There's no commas in there.
He has worked consistently because I think it's apparent that the allegations were unfounded. And
even if you look it up, like I looked for a summary on ChatGPT and it's like, warning, nothing like it's like even ChatGPT is like warning you to like take this with a grain of salt.
The allegations?
Yes.
Yeah. But
and it was
even the director of Winter, Spring, Summer, or Fall has been asked about Percy Hines White's allegations.
Tiffany Paulson.
Yeah, she spoke out and basically said, like, I only know this guy for the version of him that I worked with, and I'm looking forward to it, and he's a great actor, and I don't care. Yeah. That's basically all she said.
And again, so the allegations were, there was the assault allegations, there was like racism, and then there was like he was in group chats with people sharing photos non-consensually of like, I'm assuming girls that they knew.
Yeah, I don't know if any of that is true. And even if it were, it would not surprise me or scandalize me at this point.
So the whole thing is just a mess, and this is one of those movies where the studio has to just admit that, you know, we signed on to this before the you know what it is? It's a less awful version of Snow White. You know, it's got controversy you can't outrun, though not on the same scale.
Not
and
at
you
all,
just
yeah.
it's just you wash it. You just get rid of it and you go. There's nothing else you can do.
I don't know if it was ever going to be a huge success in the first place either. Like, regardless of whether the allegations
never
caused a controversy.
This was never going
not
to
gonna
be
a hit.
Well, I mean, it's not the type of movie that does super like. You could make the argument that maybe there's like the romantic comedy entering theaters again with like Anyone But You and stuff, or even what was the one we were talking about earlier, or even Justin Baldoni and
It Ends With Us.
It Ends With Us. Like,
it's more of a drama, I guess, a rom-dram.
This movie here is basically just like we couldn't afford the dude from A Kissing Booth.
Oh yeah, who was that guy?
I don't
Whatever
remember his
happened
name.
to him? What is his name?
That's just what this is.
It's literally the same thing.
It's the same
I'm
thing.
honestly surprised Jenna Ortega did something like this because she's been kind of doing roles very selectively that are for her specific genre of like indie stuff or like
this is indie.
Horror.
This is absolutely indie. It has the feel of
but
a.
It's not like artsy and pretentious. It's just
Oh,
small.
actually, no. Like, I look at that trailer and I see the makings of something that wanted to be artsy and pretentious, but wasn't.
It wanted to be Eternal Sunshine.
Yes.
It would totally.
Maybe not Eternal.
Totally
maybe not Eternal Sunshine, but it wanted to have something to say about. They kept talking about like, you know what it was? In fact, never mind. I know who funded this movie. Harvard funded this movie. Colleges who want to continue to sell the idea that you have to go to college to be successful. This is part of the large scale Hollywood grift of like go to college or else.
I think that at the end of the movie, what's going to happen is they like have an amicable breakup. She decides not to go to Harvard. She's taking a gap year and she's going to Spain.
Okay.
To find herself.
Okay. Well, that's so throwback right there. All right. Let's move on. We got more to get into. It's time to talk about Home Alone 2. If you're wondering why we're bringing that up, it's actually relevant.
Yes. The director of Home Alone 2, Chris Columbus, is still crying about the fact that Trump has a cameo in the movie. This is how many years now?
No, not that Chris Columbus.
No, not the canceled Christopher Columbus. The other one. The one that... Which Harry Potter movie did he direct?
I thought he was in like the first two. It wasn't the first one. The first one was David Yates, I think. So he did one of the earlier.
So he only directs sequels, I guess.
Maybe.
But yeah, he is very outspoken about how much he hates Trump, and he's regretful of the decision to include Trump in Home Alone 2. And he claims that at the time, Trump bullied the crew into giving him that cameo.
Do you believe
Trump
that?
claims otherwise. It's been a long time, so how will we ever know? This was all the way back in 1992.
No, he did. He was the producer on. I gotta double check this now because I'm curious as to which ones he did.
But this was a recent interview that Chris Columbus did where he says he wishes he could remove Trump's cameo from Home Alone 2. The filmmaker says that Trump's 7-second long appearance in the movie has become a curse. It's become an albatross. I just wish it was gone.
He did do the original Home Alone as well, and he did do the first two Harry Potter movies. For some reason, I thought that was David Yates.
But he says that he doesn't have the option to cut the cameo because if he does, quote, I'll probably be sent out of the country. I'll be considered not fit to live in the United States, so I'll have to go back to Italy or something. He thinks that if he cuts Trump's cameo from Home Alone 2, that he's going to get deported.
I mean, he's working. Like, usually with something like this, I would imagine... Actually, never mind. He hasn't directed anything since 2020. Like, I was like...
He doesn't need to either.
He doesn't need to. But there's like this back and forth where they kind of both disagree on whether Trump bullied his way into doing this movie, where he says that if you want to use my hotel, you have to put me in the movie.
This was back in 2020 that he claimed Trump was forcing his way into the movie. In an interview with Business Insider, he said, we paid the fee to use the Trump Tower. But he also said, the only way you can use the plaza is if I'm in the movie. So we agreed to put him in the movie, and when we screened it for the first time, the oddest thing happened. People cheered when Trump showed up on screen.
This is why it's funny,
So I said
too.
to my editor, leave him in the movie. It's a moment for the audience.
This is why it's funny, too, because the reason people hate him is because I actually 100% believe him saying this. and then he gets proven right by the audience loving it. I 100% believe Trump saying like, you can use the hotel, but you got to put me in the movie. And then being proven right rather than proven wrong.
Yeah. Well, the audience still likes the cameo. It's still something that people would prefer to keep in the movie rather than remove.
And one of the reasons it's relevant is like, so he when they cut it in 2019, they cut the Trump cameo from like the Canadian version of it. Right. And Trump said that Trudeau, it was like masterminded by Justin Trudeau because of their ongoing like trade war at the time.
Trump joked about it, saying, I guess Justin Trudeau doesn't much like my making him pay up on NATO or trade. And then Donald Trump Jr. called the move absolutely pathetic. The liberal media is where Trump derangement syndrome manifests itself fully. And he also suggested the decision was censorship carried out in the furtherance of Trump derangement syndrome.
I know that Macaulay Culkin liked or responded positively to like an edit where somebody cut Trump out of it.
Yeah, back in 2021, some Stan account said, petition to digitally replace Trump in Home Alone 2 with 40-year-old Macaulay Culkin, and he said, sold. So he also is full on TDS these days.
I mean, that's, whatever. He's busy
Just
with his...
let it go, though,
He's busy with his
You
wife.
were a child. Yeah. It's not that big of a deal. And Trump himself denies these claims that he bullied his way into the movie. On Truth Social, he posted that the film's production team was begging him to make a cameo appearance. They rented the Plaza Hotel in New York, which I owned at the time. I was very busy and didn't want to do it. They were very nice, but above all, persistent. I agreed, and the rest is history. That little cameo took off like a rocket, and the movie was a big success, and still is, especially around Christmas time. People call me whenever it's aired.
So where do you fall on this? I'll put you on the spot. Do you believe that they begged him for the cameo, or do you believe he said, you want to use my hotel, you can use it, but you got to put me in the movie?
I guess it's lost to the sands of time what really happened, but knowing Trump and his personality and his track record, my guess is that it was a trade-off that they had to make. And he wanted the cameo. He did.
You think he wanted the cameo?
He wasn't begrudgingly doing the cameo. He wants to be liked. He wants to be seen as, having a hand in all industries.
Yep. I also don't believe that the director wanted to cut him out of it because everybody loved him back then.
No, he was never. I don't think he was ever considering.
Like, if the director wanted to cut him out of it, it had nothing to do with Trump and had everything to do with like actual artistic integrity, where he might have thought that it interrupted the flow of the movie or something. It wasn't based on politics back in 1990.
He says nothing could be further from the truth. That cameo helped make the movie a success. But if they felt bullied or didn't want me, why did they put me in and keep me there for over 30 years? Because I was and still am great for the movie. That's why. Just another Hollywood guy from the past looking for a quick fix of Trump publicity for himself. I love him so much. See, I love him.
I imagine that what happened was as soon as he didn't even stop to reset. He filmed his cameo in one take, kept walking down the hall, and just went up to his office and did paperwork.
Yeah, and I love that version of the story.
Yeah, that's way better.
Just people can't leave well enough alone. It's a nice reminder of the simplicity of the past.
It makes me laugh too because he's talking about the director is talking about being deported, which means he knows that it's in the news and he's just doing it so that he can get publicity right now.
He's not even promoting anything. He's not even working. What is he promoting?
He's not promoting.
What does he want publicity for?
I don't know if he
hasn't done anything in 5 years.
Publicity for anything. And it is a legendary cameo. It's something that people absolutely point out every year. Though, if I was to take the opposite perspective now, say, I don't know what you do with your family over the holidays, but, some people watch the football game.
Charlie Brown Christmas.
There's probably at least a couple of families that watched either Home Alone or Home Alone 2 over the holidays, and now they can't because they know that when the Trump cameo comes up, their aunt is going to get pissed and start ranting.
And those people need to be just kicked out of family Christmas.
Ruined it for everybody.
Just like let it be a nice moment. And then Matt Damon also chimed in.
What'd he say?
I don't even know why, but in 2017, Matt Damon backed Chris Columbus's claim that Trump was bullying his way into the movie, even though he wasn't involved in Home Alone.
Yeah.
And he says that in an interview with The Hollywood Reporter that these cameos were often removed from the final cut, but he was notorious for forcing his way into movies and TV shows in the 80s and 90s.
Okay, so again,
forcing his way. Okay.
Again, like if we're supposed to believe that they were going to cut back then, they're framing it as if it's the type of thing where they wanted to cut him out because they didn't like him and he was like forcing his hand on them.
It's just so
no,
fake.
if it was going to get cut from a movie back then, it would have been cut for time or for something to do with artistic integrity. It would have nothing to do with him as a person.
Literally everyone thought Trump was the man until 2015.
Yep.
Everyone thought he was the coolest person on earth.
All right.
Including like rappers who then hated him after
Yes.
he ran.
Yeah, he was the cream of the crop.
Don't like this rewriting of history.
All right, we got more to get into today. Florence Pugh.
Yes. In a recent interview with Harper's Bazaar, Florence Pugh spoke about her experience freezing her eggs. And she did this for multiple reasons. First off, because she has fertility struggles herself and she's been diagnosed with PCOS, but also because she knows she wants to delay starting a family so she can focus on her busy schedule and the movie roles that are very demanding on her personal life, that she cannot juggle having children with the way that she currently works in Hollywood. And she was very honest about that. She talks about the way that she really gives her body to the projects she's on, in that she does all of these insane stunts and she's willing to cut her hair off to embody a role. But I don't think that she really bargained for giving her fertility, her reproduction over to Hollywood as well. And it's kind of sad to hear her talk about this stuff because you hear actresses talk about this all the time. That she's far from an isolated case. Many, many, many actresses turn to IVF and freezing their eggs early on in their career, knowing that they won't be able to prioritize that until decades later. Mm-hmm. But this was her comment. Her decade of stratospheric professional success has come at the expense of her personal life. I've worked back to back since I started, and I've missed so much. She lists family events, birthdays, barbecues with friends. I've now come to terms with things that I don't like about myself and want to change. I don't want to have things just happen to me anymore. Part of this reckoning, brought on by themes of mortality in her recent film We Live in Time, was her desire to take control of her romantic life. Following her amicable breakup in 2022 from Zach Braff, she embarked upon a new relationship that ended as the film began shooting. She says it forced her to realize, I can't wait for people anymore. I can't accept this version of love. I have to help myself. She says now she is currently in a new relationship she approaches very differently. I'm more sympathetic to the people who are in love with me because it's not easy. This, you say, is a humble brag, not a self-deprecating remark.
It's not just a humble brag. It's a girl boss humble brag.
I'm more sympathetic to the people who are in love with me because it's not easy. I'm tricky. I'm always busy. I can never make dates, but it's not good enough for me to ask someone to just accept that. I'll just end up alone. I don't want that. I want a family. Having been diagnosed with endometriosis and PCOS, she has begun the process of freezing her eggs, which she describes as tiring and horrible, though she recognizes she is lucky to be able to afford the procedure. There was a clickbait article about me doing it. I know you shouldn't read the comments, but I wish there was a little more tenderness and understanding.
There's, just don't read the comments.
Yeah. She also talked about recently deleting her Instagram, which is probably the best move for her. But she first discussed her decision to freeze her eggs late last year on a health-related women's podcast called She MD. And she talked about her diagnosis of endometriosis and PCOS, which can cause infertility.
Can you tell me what PCOS is?
Polycystic ovarian syndrome.
Okay.
So it just means she has she's prone to growing cysts on her ovaries, which can rupture, and it can basically damage your ability to conceive in the future. But her doctor recommended that she freeze her eggs because of these risk factors, but also because of the factors of her career, which prevent her from trying now.
My favorite part of any of these stories, when they come up, and they always come up, is they have to give you the virtue signal. I understand that I'm lucky to be able to do this, but, meaning like not many people can afford it, but
what?
But I am going
What's
to do it.
What's the qualifier?
I just say they always have to point it out, like that they understand.
Oh yeah, well if they don't, then everyone's gonna be like, people can barely afford eggs right now, and you're freezing your eggs. Yeah, you're
pretty
so
much the
out
same
of touch. The reason I'm against it is completely different than her being a wealthy elite. It's really the fact that I think it's unethical to use IVF procedures, and I'm against IVF in and of itself and surrogacy, which is also a common practice in Hollywood now, and it's not attached to any sort of stigma, sadly.
I'm 200% for IVF and freezing your eggs, just not when you're doing it for a Marvel movie. Then you shouldn't be allowed to.
She's doing it so that she can prove her fealty to
do whatever you want with the eggs, just don't do it for the Thunderbolts movie.
She said this was what her doctor recommended she do to prepare. The situation was unexpected and mind-boggling for her. She says, it was just so bizarre because my family are baby-making machines. My mom had babies into her 40s. My grandmother had so many kids as well. I just never assumed that I was going to be any way different and that there was going to be any issue with it. She's talked about wanting to start a family in a previous interview in Vogue back in September. She says she's always been thinking about starting a family. Quote, I've never stopped knowing that I want to have kids. It's just figuring out when. If you are driven and you want to own the world that you're working in and you want to feel like you've made it and you're successful, the conversation of kids and when you're going to do it and if you want it is always in the back of your mind. So I'm very grateful that I got to play a character like that because I am that story. My friends are that story. She's talking about other people who are in her industry who have the same considerations. But it feels like, you know, if it's true, you've emphatically stated this is so important to you, it should probably be in the front of your mind, not the back of your mind.
Perhaps it's there's a little bit of self-induced delusion there to say that it's important to you as it is when clearly the career comes first. It would be better to just be like, look, I want to, but I don't know when that's going to happen, and I think I care about it. I don't really know how I feel about it, because otherwise, you know, eventually you put it off and you put it off and you put it off. I mean, I kind of feel bad for her in a way, because it's like I don't know if it's stumbled upon is the right word, but she's found a great amount of success in a culture that valorizes this world and this lifestyle for her. And she looks at the examples in her family, which are all going completely the opposite way. And she's turned to the only solution that society has told her there is to have.
Which is medical. Yeah.
It's not like, who was it that we were talking about? From The Matrix, who says when she finished making the Matrix movie, she says, I wanted to be a mom and I took time off to be a mom. And that was it was a very different time.
And Eva Mendes has said similar things, that she basically stepped back from her acting career so that Ryan Gosling could focus on his and she could focus on family. And that's the arrangement they chose, but she's gotten significant backlash just for saying so.
Well, he's Knuff.
They're saying that, like, she's a brainwashed trad wife. Like, we're talking about Eva Mendes. We're talking about Ryan Gosling's wife. You think that she's a trad wife? Yeah. Like, just because she wants to spend time with her kids?
Yep. I'm saying that the industry that she's in tells her there's only one answer to this, and that's the one that makes the medical industrial complex a whole ton of money.
It's just insane how common surrogacy has been, and it hasn't really been part of the discourse up until very recently. So just what comes to mind right now, I know Paris Hilton did it. Lily Collins did it. Olivia Munn did it.
Yeah. Cord in the chat says, just admit that you don't want kids. I don't think that that's true for her. I think that she would be genuinely conflicted, and she's getting, her brain is telling her one thing, but then every aspect of society is telling her something else. And the solution that she's found is just one that happens to be a tad controversial, and not even necessarily controversial on political lines, given the fact that Trump has looked to expand the ability to get IVF and things like that. It's not even necessarily inherently controversial, but the topic of choosing motherhood over a career is still controversial. I don't think that the medical procedure is as universally controversial as the gendered issue of motherhood and working and all of those things is right now.
Right. Yeah, it's really not about the medical ethics argument. It's the concept that she has trade-offs to make. Mm-hmm. And for her, I mean, all women have considerations like this, but her trade-off that she would have to make is of far greater weight because she has millions upon millions of dollars on the line. Yeah. And she's also not able to have a normative dating life to even get to know someone who could be the father of her children because of her work. There's
the argument here that she's a movie star. She's not a TV actor. Mm-hmm. So she's actually at if I was to try and Monday morning quarterback a path forward, if she wanted to do both.
What's the happy medium? Streaming movies?
TV. So she is there is a level of success for actors. Sometimes you'll get lucky and you'll be like a Gillian Anderson who gets hired to do the X-Files and gets pregnant right away and they shoot around it, right? Plenty of actresses have gotten lucky to work on sets where they're allowed to both be pregnant and continue working. She has more of a path forward for that because she's a main draw, right? So if you're third on the call sheet and you get pregnant, that's not the same thing as being one on the call sheet and getting pregnant. So she's going to have more leeway for them to have to either write the pregnancy into the script or shoot around it and put her in huge puffy trench coats and a stack of cake in front of her to hide her belly. So if she now movies, they're not going to do that. You're not going to get that leeway in movies. But if she wanted to keep working and focus on motherhood, but that's a huge thing to have to navigate and figure out. And especially it's not going to work if you're going to go to some producer who wants to hire you and be like, yeah, but I also want to have kids, so deal with it. But she could not tell anyone and then be like, it's also different too because I'm kind of pitching that on the network TV model where they're filming 9 months out of the year, whereas when they're filming these streaming shows, that window is a lot smaller and there's no guarantee that you're going to keep going.
Right, yeah. Most of these shows don't even get greenlit for a second or third season.
Yeah.
But it's not so hard to imagine why a lot of these actresses choose surrogacy because of all of the concerns you just listed. And I still think it's selfish. I still think it's morally reprehensible. It's abhorrent and disturbing for a whole litany of reasons we don't have time to get into right now. But I understand where they're coming from. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's
to the extent that I can.
But at the same time, then depending on how far down the argument you get, then people start getting upset at the gendered issue of this. They're like, men never have to make these concessions, and then you have to pragmatically be like, okay, well,
men and women are different. So
they're different. So
get over it.
All right, what would you like to see? Cringe or cute of the day?
Let's see the cringe first.
Cringe first. Okay, we're about 3/4, a little bit more of the way to our first crisis party.
We have some really, really bad furry cringe today.
Okay. All right, hold on. Here we go.
Disturbing.
Ah!
Yeah. Yeah.
You just get those?
Huh? Yeah.
You did? Those are nice. May I?
Gentle, yes.
Of course, gentle. Don't want to rupture them. Those are nice.
Thank you. They grew them all by themselves.
You what? What do you say?
What does it say? emotional support on his lanyard.
By themselves.
Oh, they grow up so fast, don't they? They grow up so fast.
All my brains went to my kids, though, so. A lot of brains.
You have a good head on your shoulders.
Okay, that was horrible.
It's your average encounter at a furry convention, I'm sure.
Okay. Cute of the day.
The other one I almost sent you was even worse, so be grateful.
Okay. All right. Dead Man says day 3 post-birth of Valentine and her kitties. So Dead Man was giving me like live updates over the weekend of
On the litter?
of all the litter. Here's a.
She's a mommy.
Looks wired. Looks very exhausted post birth.
Very cute.
Very cute.
I saw this sign about a lost kitten around here, and you probably don't drive past it, but they found the kitten.
Did they?
I honestly...
Wait, how did you know they found it?
Because they put found on the sign after a couple of weeks. I was thinking, like, that thing's definitely a splat on the side of a road. But they found it.
That's good.
That makes me very happy.
We did our first like go around the neighborhood, me and Olivia, because there's all the cats that hang out in the neighborhood, and we were down by this area where there's like a camper, an RV, and the cats all hang out underneath it. Not always getting along, but very sadly, there's this one that's it's pretty good with Olivia because Olivia always brings it treats, and it clearly got into a fight with another cat, like gouges here in the eye, and she gave him like treats, and it like couldn't pick up the treats. It was so sad. So we went home and brought back like wet food for the cat, and Olivia called the lady. It's in the behind this church, and the woman, one of the women who works at the church, that's the reason all the rescues are there, because she takes care of them. So they're hopefully going to get that cat to like a no-kill shelter.
Yeah, or if it's like
at least to get it some medical help to see what can be done.
Yeah.
But it was pretty heartbreaking because
Yeah,
it was
sucks.
like trying to pick up the treats and couldn't.
Cats are fucking savage.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, if we're being honest, not to out Chloe right now, but Chloe has been just attacking Mocha for no reason lately.
Oh
Just
my
kind of being a
gosh.
dick for no reason. I hope Olivia.
They need to learn to tolerate each other.
No, normally they get along very. Okay, get along would be a stretch, but they can live in. They coexist in close proximity. They walk by each other. Nothing happens. And Chloe knocked Mocha off of the dryer the other day, and we were like, "What the hell, dude?"
That's so rude.
That's as close as you're gonna get for justice for Mocha.
Yeah.
I did not support that. I was like, Chloe, you got to stop that. But they, she's right there. So yeah, they have since they've operated. They've seemed fine since then. But it was very weird because normally they get along very, very well.
Yeah.
Okay, get along would be, again, a
Must
stretch.
be that time of the month.
I mean, I thought maybe it's like they're all shedding too because the weather's getting nicer out. Maybe they're all uncomfortable.
Maybe, yeah.
All right, let's get started.
Let's see. I don't even know where to start with this one. Ex-Nickelodeon star Amanda Bynes has just announced she is starting an OnlyFans page. Obviously, OnlyFans is almost exclusively used for X-rated adult content, but here is her announcement from her recent Instagram post. I'm on OnlyFans now. Disclaimer, I'm doing OnlyFans to chat with my fans through DMs. I won't be posting any sleazy content. Excited to join. And you can go follow her now. I'm looking at her page, and it says she was last active an hour ago, so I guess she's charging her fans, looks like $50 per month to have all access to private message her whenever they want. I'm just imagining, like, you're, like, texting Amanda Bynes or some call center employee on the other side of the world.
I mean, there's
You're actually more likely to get an authentic experience from subscribing to Amanda Bynes' OnlyFans page than your average OF ho. So maybe it's worth the money. Maybe I should subscribe. I mean, $50 a month, that's a lot, but like for journalistic purposes.
It would be really funny to just, honestly, to do like an expose, like I signed up for Amanda Bynes' OnlyFans and this is what was said.
Like everyone who subscribes.
Can you ask her about the moon landing and like
everyone
crazy
who subscribes
ask her
is
about
going to be asking her about Dan Schneider.
Ask her about chemtrails. And Dan Schneider. No, don't ask her about Dan Schneider. Ask her about chemtrails.
Well,
ask her about.
Don't you agree? Like people are just going to subscribe to like ask her about Nickelodeon and Dan Schneider.
Yeah.
Like, and how is she even like going to respond to that, if at all? Like, that's what I want to ask her. If I had the chance to ask her anything, it would probably be about that.
Oh, it's just the whole thing is just so. Also, I found it weird how it would be considered not very feminist of her to call the other type of content sleazy.
Right.
That's actually throwing shade at people. That
she's shaming. She's stigmatizing sex work by calling it sleazy. Mm-hmm. But yeah, she's claiming it's all going to be PG-13 and solely for the purpose of having normal conversations with her fans, not sexual conversations of any kind.
I mean, there's arguably, given the way that she looks now, that if you get some randomly hired operator, that they could actually be better looking than Amanda Bynes.
It is just weird to me, though, looking at her Instagram. She only has a couple of posts up. Mm-hmm. And one of them, she is posing with someone who appears to be her current boyfriend. Okay. I have no idea any of the details or who this person is, but his name is Liam Poulsen. And he posted the same photo on Instagram as well, saying, "Congratulations, Amanda, on your beautiful art show. This is an incredible turnout. Thank you, Austin, for everything." But they're posing together. And in another photo where they're posing together, people seem to think they're in a relationship. One commented, "I can tell you guys bring out the best in each other." So I don't know. Is this the best that he's bringing out in Amanda Bynes, like encouraging her to start an OnlyFans page?
I mean,
is he the one operating it? Is it his idea? Like, look, what's going on?
Without evidence of that, I say no. Without evidence of that, I would say that's not fair to put on that dude. Granted, doesn't have like a history of choosing great men, but
who is this guy? Like, he looks way younger than her, by the way.
I am gonna take the positive approach and think that maybe one day she can. I saw somebody in the chat mention it earlier that perhaps she could have like a Lindsay Lohan style glow up if she put in the work.
That reminded me, I saw this post about her just the other day about getting her face tattoo removed.
There you go. That's the first step.
She posted the video. Do you have that?
Oh, let me, I did.
They say Amanda Bynes is coming back to life. She has opted for natural looking eyebrows instead of the Crayola clown look. And she had the heart tattoo removed from her face. Her spirit is starting to light back up. You can see it in her eyes again. Good for her.
Oh God, why does everything turn into a creative writing project?
Yeah, that's not what I saw in this video.
I don't know where the light is.
She looks still, pretty spaced out.
I mean, getting rid of the nose ring would go a long way.
Kind of distant look in the eyes.
But it's a step in the right direction. And I think with some hard work and some Ozempic, she could do it.
Okay. It's just sad reading about her life because the last update she gave to her followers is like she's been gaining weight because she's super depressed and she's also trying to lose it.
Personality-wise, she is primed for the type of actress that could start doing really interesting character work like a Jennifer Coolidge did when granted it's not a one-to-one comparison because Jennifer Coolidge never crashed out.
No.
But she could absolutely have like another run if she got her life together.
Could she?
Yes, she could.
I just feel like whatever happened to her has fried her brain beyond repair.
Lose some weight. Get on a good regimen. Like if you need psych meds, get on psych meds. See consistent therapy for somebody like that who has to get through. Like we're not talking about therapy in the way that we joke about therapy, but like work through the issues. Get a good routine going. Good diet, get exercise, get in good shape, and eliminate some of the bad influences in your life. And working goes a long way to doing that. Having like a purpose and a way to also make money when it's in the craft that you spent years of your young life honing and getting good at, I think that would actually go a long way to helping her.
Well, that's another aspect of her life in the present day that's kind of sad, is she always has these plans to do this or that, to start a business. She wanted to get a cosmetology license.
See, I think
she wasn't able to stick with it and dropped out, and then started again, and it's
that is one of the hallmarks of either still dealing with addiction issues or mental health issues, is there's no positive force, there's no stabilizing force in your life that keeps you on track.
Yeah.
But I feel like getting her health worked out would go a long way to doing that.
I mean, even if she could get back to some kind of normal routine and lifestyle, I know you said psych meds if you need them, but I feel like maybe psych meds or other substances are kind of the reason why she's so.
I mean, it could just as easily.
There.
It could be just as easily that she went off them.
Maybe
it could be just as
who
easy
knows?
that she was taking them and then she went off them.
Yeah, that's a possible.
I actually feel kind of bad for speculating, but I want to do so in a positive light. There's somebody here. There's still something that could be done. There are plenty of people that are absolute train wrecks for years and then find a way to turn their life around. Not every case has to be the end of the line for everybody. So I would like to see.
I hope it's not. I would love to see an Amanda Bynes redemption arc, or an Amanda Bynes career renaissance, similar to Jennifer Coolidge, right?
Yeah.
Or Lindsay Lohan too.
Don't
Lindsay
come at
Lohan
me for the Jennifer Coolidge. I was using that more in the sense that she has a unique look and she was relevant a long time ago and then became re-relevant years
she had
later.
A career
I wasn't
renaissance. Yeah, same way. But Lindsay Lohan crashed out. Yeah. She recovered from it and now is doing really well. Daniel J. Corca sent us a 20. Brett, yesterday called Blue Origin Blue Horigin. Don't know if it was on purpose, but it was hilarious. Mary needs to do a religion culture war episode with Seamus and one of the Daily Wire guys. I mean, I'm not really a theologian. I don't know how I would compare with Seamus's breadth of knowledge on the topic, but maybe that would be fun.
And as for saying Blue Horigin, does that sound like something that I would do?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
You would never.
And before you get mad at
women.
me, it was a joke.
You respect women.
It was a joke. Though I did see a bunch of people with legit conspiracies now saying that it was all fake, and I don't know anything about that.
I've been seeing the same.
Yeah.
Well, look, I hope that Amanda Bynes deletes her OnlyFans, even if it's not for adult content. I think it would be best for her to just have as much distance from social media as possible.
Yeah.
And the types of people who are subscribing to Amanda Bynes for $50 a month, I can't even imagine. They must be some weirdos. I don't think she should be talking to them. Her relationship gives me weird vibes. I feel like she shouldn't be with that guy. He also looks way younger than her, and he's using her for clout or something. I want her to get her life back on track.
I would love that.
Look,
Big Fat Liar was a great movie. It was fantastic. Frankie Muniz, he got into bad car crash, head trauma, pulled his life together.
Yep, it happens. It's still possible for her, but I do, I know I'm joking, sort of, kind of, but I do place a lot of the blame on both her parents and Dan Schneider for the trajectory of her life thus far. And this probably comes back to the same conversation we were having about,
wrestling fans will know what I'm talking about.
Personal responsibility and agency.
We need her to join DDP Yoga and start a whole renaissance with her health and get herself back into, good physical shape so that she can mentally be there as well.
She needs a life coach, maybe.
Well, we're going to be talking about that.
Yeah, we'll be
soon.
talking about a life coach. Maybe she needs a guru.
Let's do some super chats.
Shane H. Wilder said, "Happy Wednesday, Brett and Mary. I attended a Tenebrae last night. My first time getting to go to one. If you've not been, Mary, I highly recommend it." He added, "For those who want to know, Tenebrae means darkness. At night, the church is lit by 15 candles. As the Holy Office is prayed, they are extinguished." I believe I have attended a Tenebrae before, but...
Can you explain to me what that is?
It's basically just a liturgical prayer that is candlelit, and it's very peaceful and beautiful.
Sounds nice.
Yeah. Yeah. Gordon Shumway said, Mary, save some of that cake for Phil tomorrow. It was his birthday the other day. Don't you worry about that. Phil had a slice of the cake already, and he loved it. So
there you go.
No worries. He got all the cake that he wanted. Weary Traveler said, my queen will never be canceled in my heart. Oh, was that referring
we
to
read that.
Jenna Ortega?
I think that was the Jenna Ortega one. Thank
you.
Hold.
Thank goodness this is during the super chats, because the next topic is about some really dark shit. Unless you want to ruin the tone on that one.
If anybody wants to ruin the next topic, give us another crisis
I would
party.
be okay with that. That's fine.
Just saying.
Pop Culture Junkie says, thanks for bringing back warm memories. I grew up on Swedish visiting cake lovingly made by my Swedish mom.
Aww.
Along with her pepper caker. I don't know if I said that right. It's Swedish. Swedish cinnamon cookies.
That sounds good.
But not exactly low-cal. I mean, of course, like, you're eating cake. Let's not even think about counting the calories. But those sound really good, too. Francisco Sanchez Jr. said Jenna Ortega was in the Ty West movie X, and she did not stand out there at all. Not a draw at all for any movie, maybe a series. She's a draw for Netflix.
I mean, I think Wednesday. I think that was the perfect storm of the right character, the right actress. Until I see more evidence of her leading a movie that does numbers at the box office, I'm going to say that she's
on the way there. Maybe.
Let's hold off on there.
Do you think she's a bad actress? I guess you haven't seen her in anything other than Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice. I saw something else that she was in. I don't remember what it was. I mean, what does that even mean? Like, the Hollywood stuff that gets made, it's not like she's taking roles where she's going to... I bet you Miller's Girl was where she was supposed to stand out and nobody saw it.
Yeah. In X as well, I believe they had her playing like a porn actress.
Okay.
I don't know.
At the very least, they're choosing like non-Marvel slop.
Yeah, that's what she's going for. She's trying to differentiate herself from that type of slop.
Okay. All right. She's better than Melissa Barrera, but she's no Sydney Sweeney as far as getting the roles that she wants.
I mean, Sydney Sweeney isn't great at acting either.
I didn't say good at acting. I said, as far as star power. Yeah. All right. Let's move on. This one is this is a thing.
Yeah, this, I think, is the most insane influencer scandal I have ever come across or had the misfortune of reading about. The center of it is Kat Torres, a so-called spiritual guru and wellness influencer on Instagram, who ended up starting a cult, inviting her followers to live with and work for her, and then she ended up trafficking them and getting sent to prison for it. This is all real. She basically ran a coven out of her house. She had a witch shrine and all sorts of magical props. She claimed that she had a connection to the divine, and she used it to manipulate young women who followed her follow her footsteps, basically.
I bet you. Oh, yeah, ayahuasca is involved.
Lots of drugs, lots of spells, lots of crime, disgusting stuff. But how do I even begin here? I watched this BBC documentary that they made about this whole scandal called Like, Follow, Trafficked, Insta's Fake Guru. Highly recommend it. It ends with the final interview with Kat Torres in her prison. And she still, to this day, completely denies all allegations. She literally says all of it is fake. Every social media you post that you saw of me, it wasn't me. Every screenshotted text message, it wasn't me. I didn't say any of that.
She is the gaslighter in chief of these people.
She's just fully trying to gaslight the victims and the public. And it's not working because it's all documented. It's all out there. It was all posted publicly. And then it's still, even as she has been now arrested in 2022, sentenced to 8 years in prison in Brazil in 2024, serving that time currently and still under investigation for other crimes against not just one, but many victims, she still is trying to get past it. And it's just... it's so insane, but it gives you a look into the impenetrable narcissism.
She couldn't have been that
influencers.
Successful. She couldn't even bribe officials in Brazil.
Yeah, what the heck?
That's what I was thinking. As like she's either so bad that even that even corrupt politicians and police in Brazil didn't want her on the streets, or she wasn't as successful as people thought.
Well, what's crazy is that she committed these sex crimes in the U.S., but was then extradited to Brazil. Anyway, the story starts, so her story goes, so the way that she tells it. She's rags to riches. She grew up in this poor neighborhood in Brazil. She was abused. She had this alcoholic father. She started pageantry and modeling as a kid, and then she soared in success and started getting modeling jobs as a young adult in Europe, and then went on to pursue acting and modeling in the US, in New York. She was eventually partying with A-listers. She was seen with Leonardo DiCaprio in her early 20s. People were sending rumors around that they were dating, and she conspicuously did not deny those claims. I have no idea whether it actually happened, but she was pictured at parties with people of a similar cohort, and she had connections everywhere. And she used those connections. She leveraged all of these connections and her status to craft a persona online that she was this aspirational figure for young women. And most of her following was of young women.
She's basically the female trafficker from Sound of Freedom.
She's low-key like that, but like also a mixture of
a witch.
She's a mixture of like a witch and like Andrew Tate. It's pretty sinister. So back in the 2010s, she had over 1 million followers on Instagram, and that's like not as impressive these days. But back in the 2010s, that was a big deal to have that many followers. And she ended up kind of shifting her brand away from modeling and more into being this, like motivational speaker, spiritual influencer. She had paid consultations on her profile. You could subscribe for her advice on dating, relationships, general spiritual wellness. It's all crystal woo-woo nonsense. But as you go into the history of how this all went down, BBC interviews her former friends, her former roommate, her victims, her ex-husband, and even her neighbors, and they all say that they saw this coming. One of her former roommates was interviewed about what it was like to live with her. This was at the top of this luxury apartment building right over this view of the Statue of Liberty. In 2013, he moved in with her, and he said, "It's possible she had money saved up from modeling, but it was obvious to me that someone else was paying for all of this. She had very nice clothes and purses. There was one particular incident where she had me go down to the lobby of the building that we lived in to pick up an envelope that was obviously full of cash. The reasonable assumption is that she was a sugar baby. She was sleeping with wealthy men who were giving her money in exchange. Later, I discovered there was an elderly Russian oligarch, a friend of Vladimir Putin, who was taking care of her, and he was paying for that apartment. I thought, good for her, and I get to enjoy it too, free of rent."
Damn. Good work, comrade.
When I was in Paris with her, she went to meet him in the south of France on his yacht, and he gave her a Rolex watch covered in diamonds. He adds that things began to go downhill after Kat Torres got her breasts removed. She said that she had a flesh-eating disease, and she had to get her breasts removed and reconstructed. After the surgery, I assume this Russian oligarch and the rest of her roster of sugar daddies were suddenly nowhere to be seen. So a girl had to figure out how to make money for herself and be independent. And that meant hawking these online courses, private consultations for exorbitant amounts of money. And she was basically selling her spiritual expertise online to extremely naive followers that were shelling out insane amounts of money for it. But here was one of these clients of hers talking about what it was like. Her subscription service offered customers love, money, and self-esteem you always dreamed of, with self-help videos and advice on relationships, wellness, business success, and spirituality. They also noted that she idolized people like Tony Robbins, and she wanted to emulate the personalities of these motivational speakers and figures. She had online video consultations starting from $150 each. You could unlock exclusive one-on-one time with Kat Torres, and she quickly had over 1,000 people signing up. Desiree, who was her the victim whose allegations actually got Kat Torres imprisoned, this was what she said. I felt I was deeply understood like never before. I found comfort in her words. It was like therapy for me. After I watched her videos, I could see improvements in the problems I had been facing for years. Little did she know that it was going to lead to prostitution and abduction. Kat became more influenced by various religions and self-help gurus, telling her followers that the voice inside her head was passing on messages about how they should lead their lives and they could ignore it at their own peril.
Randy Orton would not approve.
So Kat Torres still claims that she has a voice in her head that's a higher power, it's God. And she wrote a memoir titled The Voice in 2017 that she claims she wrote completely under spiritual trance. And those who do not heed her advice they face disastrous consequences. It's life-ruining if they don't follow her advice and her demands. And this is the way that she intimidated her followers into following it, following anything that she told them to do. She said people who strictly followed her instructions were happy, but those who didn't listen were left depressed and suffered disaster. She claimed, this is according to Desiree, she claimed my relationship with my boyfriend was toxic, and if we didn't separate, something very bad would happen to me.
Women always giving each other bad relationship advice.
I was terrified. I really believed she had a supernatural power of precognition.
Oh my God.
So this is a classic staple of human trafficking. You're getting isolated from your family and loved ones before you are a target. Anna was another young woman from Brazil who moved to the U.S. To form a new life, and she was hoping that Kat Torres was the answer she had been looking for. She had hit rock bottom, and then Kat Torres invited her to be basically her live-in assistant, at which point it became apparent she was deeply dysfunctional. Her apartment was disgusting, filthy. She never slept. She couldn't be alone at any point in the day. And she never let this girl, Anna, sleep. She was not allowed to sleep. She basically got a sick thrill out of psychologically tormenting this girl that she hired, and then ended up not paying her at all. Yeah. And she was able to escape eventually. But many vulnerable and impressionable young women looking for her guidance were attracted to Kat Torres. And they were unaware that at the heart of it was a ruthless obsession with making money. And eventually, once her sugar daddies abandoned her, she ended up in LA. She went down the path of taking immense amounts of psychedelics, including ayahuasca. She was hanging out with communities that were centered around psychedelics. And that's when there was really a shift. And she was unrecognizable from the person she used to be, who wasn't even that great of a person to begin with. Yeah. So at this point, it went from having a delusion of, her spiritual connection to the universe and God to abusing other people with it. And she was rebranded completely as a guru online and using that for her income instead of sugar daddies. But here is where the other girls come in. She starts messaging her followers and finding the ones that are most impressionable to convince them to live with her and work for her. And she doesn't explain what that really means until they're there.
Yeah.
She confiscates their passports. At this point, she ends up living in Austin, Texas with her new husband, who is way younger than her, noticeably. And she has them start working nonstop at strip clubs and then escalates it to putting them on escorting websites. And she says, if you don't bring home $3,000 a day, you're sleeping on the streets. And oftentimes these women would end up sleeping on the streets in a foreign country with no identification or money because they couldn't keep up with her demands. And not only that, she kept them in this hypnosis by inducting them into a coven. So in her home in Austin, Texas, there was a full decked out witch shrine with voodoo dolls and incense and all of these herbs, and it was for exorcisms and spells, and she had an altar with candles, and this was her witchcraft room in the house. And she basically tried to convince her followers at this point that they wanted to be part of the coven. This was like aspirational. And she posted photos of the women who dyed their hair to look more like Kat, saying, meet the witches who work for you. And she sold basically what their special powers were. Desiree's power was mental intelligence wit. Letitia's power, kill any human with her mind. And then Soul, which is a name they've come up with for this anonymous victim, her power is clairvoyance and magic. And she's growing this coven. She calls herself the Queen of the Witches, and her power is hypnosis and mental manipulation. Her photo is just her flipping off the camera. And she's just fully off the deep end with the support of her husband at the time. And this is the point where she's having them all do drugs together. They're doing what she calls an alien bath. She bathes them and says these mantra phrases, these affirmations to them. I guess it's supposed to be a spiritually cleansing experience.
Okay.
She says to her followers, I want you all to be millionaires, but you need to understand that if you move in with me, this is real work, nonstop. You will go to bed at 2 a.m. and wake up at 5 a.m. And I will show you what it's like to really chase the bag. And at this point, the families of the women she's abducted realize that something is wrong because they've been cut off all contact. They're in another country. They have no idea where they are, what they're doing. They have no idea that their daughters have been forced into sex work. And they have no way to contact them because Kat Torres is controlling them and keeping their ID cards and passports and is safe and all of their money. And they start social media campaigns in Brazil to find them. They're reported missing as Brazilian citizens. And this becomes a huge news story in the country. And it's funny because this wasn't picked up in, Western media until more recently because it just was the language barrier. But now English-speaking outlets have finally picked up on this story, and only more recently have, people in the U.S. even learned that this happened in the U.S. So these campaigns continue. The women that Kat Torres is controlling and imprisoning, she forces them to record themselves and post videos saying, I'm not in trouble, leave me alone, I never want to talk to my family again, everything is fine, stop following me. And they look brainwashed. They look absolutely out of their gourd. Like they're totally distant, like they're in the sunken place. And all the while, Kat Torres is still making threats against people who are coming after her. And once law enforcement gets involved, she decides that they all have to go on the run. So she is on the way to resettle her coven in Maine when law enforcement pulls them over on the side of the road, knowing that she's a suspect. And they question the alleged victims, asking them, are you okay? They're trying to convince them to come back to the police station. And at that point, it was over. That was in 2022 when Kat Torres eventually finally got arrested. And then she was extradited to Brazil and went through the whole criminal investigation there. And now she has been sentenced as of summer last year to 8 years in prison for only her crimes against that singular victim, Desiree. There are still many others who are anonymous and not anonymous, and those investigations continue. But in her interview with the BBC, she says, everything they're saying is a lie. They're making it all up. I never posted that. If you think that the video of me is real, you're stupid. I never posted any of these things. I never asked anyone to live with me. I don't know what bank transfers you're talking about. It's all fake. They all they doctored these messages. Her lawyer claims that she didn't force anyone to do anything. And she says, it's funny that everyone is saying I was controlling and brainwashing these women. But you're also saying that I'm fake? Well, I mean, I guess that I really do have powers then. And then at the end of the interview, she threatens the BBC journalist who is interviewing her and says, after this, beware, you're gonna find out whether I have power or not. And then walks back into her jail cell.
Kind of the worst aspects of the worst type of woman.
And we're literally just scratching the surface with what I've just said. The details are absolutely insane. And I think the takeaway from all of this isn't really about Kat Torres. It's about, first off, the growing prevalence of witchcraft in this country and across the globe. It's something I've taken notice of. A lot of them appear to be LARPers online, like on Witch Talk and things like that. They're just buying crystals and tarot cards from Barnes and Noble. But I would not discount, if I were you, the validity of these practices and how seriously self-proclaimed witches take these practices, as well as the involvement of drugs in these rituals. And secondly, I would say this is a warning of current influencers who are still on the rise and in their heyday, like literally right now, because the wellness spiritual guru cottage industry of influencers is still very much alive and well today. And I am sure, without a shadow of a doubt, there are other versions of Kat Torres at large, literally as we speak. I just don't know who they are yet. It's just, we'll have to wait for them to get exposed and prosecuted and made into a viral story just the same way.
Beware of the term divine feminine.
Exactly. That's exactly the type of person who has popularized a term like that. She's connected to the divine feminine.
All right, let's do some super chats.
Shane H. Wilder said, dude in this trailer has the emotional range of a wet sponge if that wet sponge also hit the bong before the director
She
called
wasn't
action.
any better in that trailer.
No.
They were both bad in that trailer.
She kind of gets away with it because she's the more famous of the two of them. Deep South EDC said, I must have had a stroke writing my super chat yesterday. Must be the street corn Cheetos. Also, do they just bank movies these days like podcasts? WTF.
What do you mean by bank them?
Bank them?
What do you mean by bank them?
They finance them?
I mean, do you mean do they you'd have to...
I don't know.
You have to let us know what you mean.
Yeah.
Let's do two more.
Dingus Khan said, Amanda Bynes looks like the trailer park final boss now. Yeah. Sadly, yeah. Life has not been kind to that woman.
It's not I can fix her, it's she can fix herself. I have faith in her.
Yeah. Maybe. She might need some help along the way. Abstract Cats official TSG said, winter, spring, summer, fall, let's eat grandma.
No.
I don't know what that means.
Also, well, actually, no, because we're not talking about cats in the next segment. It would have been a great segue if it was Abstract Dogs official.
Yurishima Otaru said, Chris has no rights to the movie. This is bluster.
Yes, he doesn't own the movie.
Who?
Home Alone.
Oh,
Chris,
yeah.
It's not like he owns the movie.
Well, I guess he wouldn't even have the ability to distribute a director's cut then.
He wouldn't. No, the studio would have to do that.
And then Trump was a New York icon and loved. They wanted him.
Yep.
I think they did ask him for the cameo. Like, they did want the cameo, but also Trump was exaggerating that they were begging for it. Like, I don't know, man.
They just knocked at my door every day.
Whatever. I believe him. I don't care.
All right. If you think the last story was bad, we've got something that's just bad in a different way.
Mm-hmm. A married mother of 4 and, more importantly, a self-proclaimed dog mom TikToker just got a feature story in the New York Post because she openly claims and brags about the fact that she loves her dog more than she loves her own husband. She is proud of this, and she is proclaiming it from the rooftops.
This is a picture?
This is a picture of them. And she is holding her Maltese, Massimo, in the picture. And her husband is standing next to her with a shirt that says, "She used to be mine." Show more of the pictures. They're insane. The one where she's sitting on him.
This is the worst, perhaps.
Here is a photo where her husband, if you're listening rather than watching, he is on all fours on the floor in this professional photo shoot while his wife sits on his back, kissing her dog in her arms.
Somehow this one felt like just as bad to me because it's not professionally taken, where it's just they caught
this is just their life.
This glimpse in the moment of him being jealous of the dog.
This is just their day-to-day life. And her name is Elsie Gonzalez. She has gained a following on TikTok because of her dog mom content. I guess there's an audience for this that relates to caring more about your dog than your family.
His eyes really are dead in this.
Yeah.
Partially because from what I read, she's a divorce attorney, which means he's screwed if he wants to leave her.
He feels nothing anymore.
Yep.
But yeah, she takes her Maltese Massimo everywhere, from the office to France to the bathroom. She says when she wakes up, instead of giving my husband a kiss, I wake up and give Massimo all my kisses. It's the same before we go to sleep at night. If Alex is looking for a little love from his wife, even on their wedding anniversary, he's barking up the wrong tree. This was her video about their wedding anniversary, spending time with her dog instead.
It's my wedding
Yeah.
anniversary, and I couldn't wait to come home and snuggle with my boy.
This is real. And her bio actually says, it's in the voice of the dog, I was dog napped by a middle-aged lady going through the change.
Yeah, she has hashtag menopause in all of her stuff.
So I'm just going to say her husband is probably partly to blame for the situation he's in.
There's got to be a humiliation kink going on.
Oh, yeah, for sure. He encouraged her to get this dog when she was through the throes of menopause symptoms, and the dog's only a year old. Their marriage wasn't always like this, but he encouraged her to become a dog mom so that I guess he wouldn't have to deal with her anymore. Some of her other posts say, the man who encouraged me to follow my perimenopause urge to get a dog, he is lucky I didn't have a dog before we got married because he might not exist.
Somebody in the chat said, if this is a joke, I'm all for it. No.
I am not for this, regardless of whether it's serious or satire.
No.
I still think it's humiliating your spouse. Another post said, dogs over children and a spouse. She has both children and a spouse, by the way. I never wanted to be a stay-at-home mom, but I aspire to live that bougie dog mom life. And she's bragging about getting featured in the New York Post.
Yeah.
This is the life that her husband chose.
It has to be some type of weird humiliation kink. It has to.
Yeah, definitely.
I can't imagine otherwise. That or it's my other hypothesis. It's that you know, she has all the power because she's a divorce attorney and would take him to the cleaners or something. I don't know what he does for a living, but my God.
Well, I think that she's a divorce attorney and he has some other job on a similar level. When his job tapped him to travel to Paris last year, a work trip he hoped would double as a romantic rendezvous with his bride, he found himself tagging along as third wheel to Elsie and Massimo's Mommy and Me tour. She says, I do love my husband, but he knew that if I couldn't bring the dog, I wasn't going to go.
Bro, just leave her. Just divorce her.
But she knows all the loopholes.
Yeah.
He doesn't have an option. It's a pain many spouses of pet parents are forced to endure. This is an actual study. 1,000 pet owners in a survey, 57% of them say they love their pets more than their siblings. 50% of these pet owners admitted that they love their pets more than their mothers. And the study also found that millennials' romantic partners come second to a pet for 30% of participants in the survey.
You know why, right? It's because pets don't call you on your bullshit and they don't talk back to you.
Yeah.
People don't want to live in the real world with actual human interaction. They just want something that will reaffirm them at all times.
Mm-hmm. Unquestioningly.
Yep.
Shane H. Wilder said, I live in Austin and work in the news. This is the first I'm hearing of this chick. Then again, I actually had a Satanist upstairs neighbor once. He was horrible. I had to keep gallons of holy water on hand. Glad he got evicted. Well, I mean, I'm glad that he's evicted too. I hope that the holy water repelled him away. But yeah, you're right that it's about not dealing with the fullness of a human person. In fact, that was admitted as much by this guy featured in the article. He said about his golden retriever, Marley, I love my family, but they're not always easy. Marley is always easy.
Yeah, that's not how the world is supposed to work.
Yeah, that's not how relationships are supposed to work.
You're actually ignoring the humanity of another person when you want just the easy stuff.
They also interviewed 29-year-old Misha Bell, who prioritizes her French bulldog Winston over her newlywed husband. She said, to be fair, I had Winston before I had my husband, so he's my first love. She is also a lifestyle influencer and self-proclaimed dog momager who runs Winston's social media accounts, and she got married back in September. So I guess that her husband needed the dog's approval before putting a ring on it.
Yeah. It's like, this is like the most depressing. This episode's actually turned out fairly depressing. We probably shouldn't have put these stories by each other.
I think
it's
absurd enough.
Yes.
But it's not just women who are doing this, of course.
Correct.
They also interviewed a husband and father of two who says that he prioritizes his relationship with his golden retriever over his relationship with his wife. And there are multiple videos in this format. One from Misha Bell, how I treat my husband versus how I treat my dog.
Here we go.
This is how she greets her dog instead.
Come on. She's a girl with the best intentions.
And there's another one from the golden retriever owner about how he mistreats his wife. So funny.
There you go. Can you bring me that bag, please? Go. Healthy boy. Keep you big and strong. Good. Babe, we've got no food, so I'm just getting us pizza. Bye, baby. Have a wonderful day. Lots of treats, okay? Kiss. Oh, good boy.
Ew.
Love you. Bye-bye. See ya.
Yeah.
Let me help you out.
Okay. Very sad.
Your bromance with your dog matters more than your marriage.
Yes.
And you think it's funny.
It's not funny.
I think that's the worst part.
Like, it's
Because
not
even
funny.
if it's satire, you can easily say that it's satire. It Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's still a weird humiliation ritual for your spouse.
For the other person to participate in.
And the woman in the first example, Elsie, is recording herself on TikTok and openly calls her children her mouth breathers.
Like, why?
Just openly insulting your children. Even if it's a joke, it's not a very funny joke.
There's a gap now between I think in this desire to be authentic, they forget to understand that it's not always going to be perceived the way that you want it to be. So whether you're making this as a joke or not, it doesn't matter because it's going to be perceived differently by the outside world.
Yeah, completely agree.
It doesn't work.
And I must say, you know, the dog dads and the dog moms especially, I know there are a lot of jokes deriding cat ladies, but these dog people are really off the deep end. I mean, just the amount of money that these people spend on the most like luxury high-end dog food, and they pay for dog sitters and doggy daycare and a membership at the local dog park or whatever. And they put their dogs on dog play dates, and they might as well like put this dog in a diaper and roll it around in a stroller. I have seen that in real life.
Yep.
Shamelessly. And you know what's even more disgusting? It's really just not hygienic. They are kissing their dog with tongue. I have seen that in real life as well. Gross. I mean, actually, just that could make me just throw up in my mouth. Ugh. They kiss their dogs, actually like kiss their dogs' disgusting mouths that they've used to clean their genitals with their mouth. I mean, it's disgusting. And then share food with the dog. And they sleep in the same bed as the dog with their disgusting paws that have been all over their own shit.
Yep.
And the dirt outside. And it just their whole living situation it smells like dog. And there's just dog hair everywhere. And they're okay with living this way with a wild animal, if not a whole legion of them.
I don't care about that. I care about the humiliation of the spouses, and I care about the spouses being willing to like put themselves up with that.
It speaks to the same exact instinct where we're gonna treat this wild animal essentially like they're just as much part of the family as the human beings in the family. That cannot be the case.
I say just treat the human beings better.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm not saying even better than the dog. I'm saying don't be so dismissive and so humiliating to your...
I fully say treat your spouse and your actual children better than you treat your animal. Because it's an animal. It's an animal.
Please stop making content out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Making a fool out of yourself and everyone else.
Not just yourself, but the people that you supposedly love. Yeah. All right. Let's do some super chats.
Gordon Shumway said Chris Columbus should thank Trump for making him relevant again. Just like Semisonic and Closing Time, these has-beens are getting another 15 minutes of fame.
Forgot about that.
Yeah. There should be like a TDS convention where they can all get together and bond over their hatred of Trump.
I mean, you could just...
leave us all alone.
What you could do is you could attach it to a women's convention, because there's a women's convention going on somewhere.
I'm sure, right now. Yeah. Corn Pop said, oh no, he just like sent us a sticker.
Thank you.
Thank you. Shane H. Wilder, Amanda Bynes on OF needs to go in your book, OF Horror Stories, to send shivers down your beep. At this point, the book has to be longer than War and Peace. It really could be, but you know, you got to pick the standouts. I think Amanda Bynes is one of them.
As of 6 hours ago, final call. Register now for the Women in Insurance Summit in Atlanta.
Women in insurance?
Ladies, do you sell insurance? Are you an insurance agent? Are you one of them oh no, those are the real estate hoes on Instagram.
Women in insurance.
You too can go to the Women in Insurance Summit. And right under that is the USA Fight Off World Team Capture Women's Nike Hoops Summit victory for third consecutive year. Trailblazing Women Transforming Capital, the 2025 Women's Capital Summit comes to New York.
They love trailblazing.
They are always blazing a trail of some sort.
They're always blazing a trail. They're always breaking a glass ceiling.
It's kind of like how, and if they're on social media, they're always on a journey somewhere.
Everything is a fucking journey these days.
Yep.
Chris Benoit said Amanda Bynes is what happens when interesting username, by the way, when a strong father figure is missing. I made sure to be a very important part of my son's life. No OF nonsense here. Oh,
Bruh.
we're glad to hear that.
Bruh.
That's great.
Bruh.
Thank you.
The amount of like really, really politically incorrect Chris Benoit memes on Instagram are it's a lot.
Yurishima Otaru said Dan Schneider was her first OF sub.
Probably.
Yikes. Well, I mean, according to Amanda Bynes and her family, nothing untoward happened.
Yep.
It's nothing but a positive experience at Nickelodeon. All sunshine and rainbows. Pop Culture Junkie said Bynes is quite a good actress. She nailed her character in Easy A, her last movie. Emma Stone said she was a delight to work with. So sad. She was always a really good actor from the very beginning.
Yeah.
Played for the Amanda Show, played at least like 20 different characters an episode.
Maybe Frankie Muniz can get her a job racing cars. Maybe we can get her healthy and racing cars.
Or she could just be one of the what are the girls that like do the flag?
Yeah, she could do that.
She could
Get
do
her
that
job
at one of his races. TX Goliath said Mary and Benson Boone voice. Okay. I'm not just gonna do a paid like karaoke performance for you. This is ridiculous. Maybe if you sent us like more money than that. But $5, I don't think so. Shane H. Wilder said it wasn't me. She says as she stands in the middle of a pentagram in her sex dungeon with a harem cauldron and a shit ton of peyote. Is that how you say it?
It's not how you spell it, but
I don't know.
peyote,
yeah. Yeah, I don't know who she thinks she's fooling.
She's like, you're crazy. You're starting to sound like your mother.
Literally, that's what she was doing to like try to gaslight the journalist.
Yeah.
And she was like, I'm going to put a hex on you.
But I'm not putting hexes on anyone. You're crazy.
Like, I'm not a witch, but also I am a witch.
Be afraid.
Be afraid of me.
Be very afraid.
Corn Pop sent us another sticker.
Thank
you. Omega Red Fan said, beware of witches who use the word serendipity. That's all I got today. Serendipity. Okay. We'll keep that in mind.
Yeah, that story was depressing.
Elvin McGoth said, dude got cucked by a dog. I bet she makes him watch as well.
Oh, man. Hide the peanut butter, would you?
All right. It's a Maltese. Let's, like, keep it PG. Yurishima Otaru said they do weird stuff with that dog for sure. Okay, I think what they're posting with the dog is weird enough. I hope that there's nothing else going on behind closed doors.
Mm-hmm.
Deep South EDC said, bank when mid-tier podcasts record a ton of episodes then release a month later because they lazy. Sorry, I wasn't clear. Someone can finance my podcast.
I mean, that's a lot of podcasts do that. I know. I found that out recently when I was listening to an episode of The Undertaker's podcast that they film like multiple episodes a day, and that actually sounded horrible.
That sounds awful.
Like to me, because that's like an interview show. So that's like you're kicking back and then you're recalling all these stories with people that you used to work with. And doing like 3 or 4 of them. I mean, I don't know if he's doing that many, but even 2 or 3 of them in a day.
Too much.
Like, you know, because those episodes are an hour and a half. So, I mean, if he's doing 3, I mean, I'm assuming that they edit it down. So maybe it's closer to 2 hours and they cut out some of it. Yeah, I wouldn't want to bank episodes. It's easier to just be consistent and do it every day. But obviously for people that are doing that, they're doing it because that's not their only stream of income and they do other things. Like what we do here is fairly unique in that respect, where a lot of podcasts, they don't do the daily live show.
Yeah, most are maybe 3 times a week at most. And
I mean,
the rest are like hobbyists who do once a week or once every other week. Fresh Meat said for the dog V's wife, I don't know what that means. Bring
on the nuclear war.
Nuclear war or the meteor.
Yeah.
No. I don't want the world to end yet.
I mean, plus professional photos like that are always a bad idea if it involves the pet.
Yeah. I mean, unless it's like a family photo and the dog happens to be there.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
that was like
it was the
their
center
children,
theme of the.
Their children just weren't even in the photos.
Yep.
It was just the dog. Well-Spoken Token said, "Hey PCC, coming up on my 1-year anniversary of watching you guys. Not sure of exactly when, but it was close to the release of The Fall Guy. Anyways, keep doing what you're doing, Brett and Mary. # long live PCC."
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
And the Fall Guy was great.
It really was.
The Fall Guy was.
When is the next Fall Guy? When is the next that?
Oh, that's a good question.
Like I miss enjoying things.
Yeah. Ryan Gosling's awesome.
What's next?
I don't know.
Everything is so serious now.
Yeah, I don't know what else is coming out this year. I'm going to see The Accountant 2. That's the next thing I'm going to go see. And I didn't even bother to go see The Amateur. I should have.
Yeah. I mean, I was slightly intrigued by Sinners, but
yes, and that's got a very high rating from everyone all around the board. So, I was listening to Jeremy Johns' review of it earlier. It says it was really good.
Maybe I'll just go see the Minecraft movie this
There
weekend.
you go.
I'll go to church on Easter Sunday and head straight to the movie theater for a showing of the Minecraft movie.
You can throw the crackers in the air.
Throw Easter eggs
Yes.
in the air.
Yeah.
I'm sure there are a lot of Easter eggs in the Minecraft movie. It would be seasonal. Joshua Throckmorton said, "Brett and Mary, which is worst, boy mom or dog mom?"
They're both bad. You shouldn't be anything like that.
Yikes. I don't even know.
Stop labeling yourself.
I think the boy moms are worse, though. Because they're actually, like, making their sons miserable.
Yeah, she's made... Well, I mean, this dog mom... I guess dog mom's making her husband miserable, but that's, like, a faulty syllogism. Like, doesn't mean she has a husband. Like,
yeah,
dog
mom could be just about anybody.
Yeah.
I guess if you're going to be a dog mom, you shouldn't be married.
Yeah.
If you're essentially married
At
to
least
your
they're not
dog.
calling themselves dog wives.
Oh, please, no. No, but there are, unfortunately, there are women who kind of get, like, these really huge, aggressive dogs to sort of be, like, a surrogate husband in a way.
Ugh.
Like, well, because it can fight off threats.
Yeah. That's a whole, like,
That's
TikTok.
Psychologically, you know,
That's
serving
a
a purpose.
TikTok, like, theme, too, where they're, like, they show the dogs that will keep them safe. I'm like, you could just buy a gun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That would be a lot more practical and less likely to attack you one day. Brian Bledsoe said, "Hear voices in your head, RKO into the cauldron. The Gongo wouldn't put up with this."
Yeah, you take him and you give him the RKO right onto, like, the religious altar that she had made.
I don't necessarily doubt that she hears voices in her head.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she's crazy and she's taken tons of psychedelic drugs, so she probably does hear voices.
Yep.
But maybe she's still in a point where, like, she knows that it's not real.
Or maybe she's been infected with, like, poison from, like, the leaking breast implants that had to be removed.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know this, but if you have breast implants, they become toxic over time to your body, and you have to get them replaced every decade at least. And I just think this is where my mind goes. It's like, what if society collapses and you can't get your breast implants replaced? Then you just die.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to die like that. I'm never going to do that.
Yeah.
Don't want to end up in that situation.
Crappy way to go out.
Shane H. Wilder said, "Treating a creature without an immortal soul better than your spouse who does is not giving what they think it's giving."
There you go.
Yeah. JJ said, "Mary, have you been called a witch due to your fashion?" I don't think so.
Did somebody say that in the chat earlier?
I don't think wearing black makes you resemble a witch. There has to be a little more to it. Missed this 20, sorry, from Value in You. "Mary, for the right money, would you do a voices segment? Would be hilarious, you know, take requests for impressions within reason, of course." I mean, I could try. I can't promise it's going to be, like, stellar impressions on everything. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I just have a good day with it.
For a $20 super chat, she may do an impression if requested.
Maybe.
Yeah.
We'll see if it's appropriate. Brian Bledsoe said women's real estate networking is today in Alexandria, Mary. Should stop by. Also, Turning Point USA has their women's summit in June.
Yes, they do.
I did get an invite to the Turning Point, what is it? The Young Women's Leadership Summit. And I thought, hey, maybe I'll make an appearance.
There you go.
Not sure. Not sure yet. High Voltage 75 said, remember Hannah Claire? Apparently she's a mom now. Thoughts?
Yes, she is.
Yeah. She is a mom, and that's great.
It's awesome.
Congrats if you're listening.
I did offer my congrats.
Yeah.
That is all the super chats.
I think we're all caught up now.
What is it? What did I just read there?
It's time for your cake.
Oh, yes. Okay. Here we go.
It is high time. I know you were trying to
I'm
trying to avoid it. You were trying to
keeping
pretend that you forgot.
I'm keeping the oh, it's like metal.
Yeah.
Holy crap. Okay.
Okay. You ate it like you were like you were hiding it. Like you were secretly eating it. Okay, what do we think?
What is it again?
Swedish visiting cake.
What does that mean?
It's just like if you took an almond croissant and you made it into a if a brownie and an almond croissant had a baby. It's like shaped like a brownie, but it tastes like an almond croissant. And it's just like thick, like.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's like a thick layer of cake and then a thick layer of almond topping with powdered sugar on top. Highly recommend. Thank you guys. Okay, so give it a rating.
Out of what?
Out of 10. Or if you want to do 5 stars, whatever. What do you say? You hate it.
8 out of 10.
No, you hate it. You're
8
lying.
out of 10.
You hate it. You're lying.
8 out of 10, but only because I don't like the taste is good. I don't like the chopped nuts.
Ugh. Okay, I should have known.
Yeah.
With your unsophisticated palate, that you would have said something like that.
If I didn't like
the almonds are what makes it what it is. Hopefully Olivia likes it more.
It probably does add to the texture in a way that I'm not actually.
I'm such an almond girly.
Are you?
Love almond, everything almond. Marzipan.
No, if I wouldn't have taken multiple bites if I didn't like it. It's good.
Okay, good. Maybe I'll make it again. But yeah, like I had this almond croissant one time that like I will never forget. And I've never since then had one that measured up. And I want to figure out how to make an almond croissant that's like immaculate with like the right amount of like the filling and the custard inside.
Also,
you said
you made these the other day,
Chef's
so
kiss.
they're like a day behind.
I forgot to bring them yesterday, and I was so pissed off. But hopefully,
So they'd probably have been even better
hopefully
yesterday.
it's still good. I
No,
don't
it's
know.
good.
Pete Donovan said, Brett, I felt your pain watching that boy mom TikTok. The only thing worse would be a Zoom call of all the boy moms. Here's a word I hate, gushing over their kids. These women belong in a psych ward. Make asylums great again.
Gushing is not a good word.
People are so Freudian these days. It's kind of scary.
Yep.
Shane H. Wilder said, a witch for wearing black? Have you seen the Catholic Church? We got skulls and shit. We're metal that way. Yeah, we actually do have like skulls and finger bones and all sorts of relics. There's even a chapel, I believe in, maybe I have it confused, but I think it's in Italy. It's constructed, the walls are constructed ornately with the skulls of monks.
So there was some, I'm gonna get this wrong too. I just know I'm gonna get this wrong. So what was the Russell Crowe movie that you said you saw? The
Pope's Exorcist?
What was the one where like multiple religions come together? Was that you said like multiple
What?
like it was like you said it was like an Avengers movie.
Okay, I didn't say multiple religions come together, but
What was
it had Marvel vibes.
Okay,
Because of the CGI that they used in the exorcism, there was no reason.
Who were the people that came together? I thought you said like there was one where
Okay, so it was the older priest played by Russell Crowe and the younger priest, I forget who that was. But they like join forces. They're like a ragtag exorcist duo team, whatever, and they have to like team up together and like
Okay.
You know, then they're like it's like literal like skybeam CGI that they were using in the middle of this exorcism scene toward the end.
Was there like not a voodoo woman or something like that in one of these movies?
Which one?
Either or.
With Russell
You saw
Crowe?
two movies like that. You saw 2 Russell Crowe exorcist movies.
There were 2 Russell Crowe exorcist movies. I only saw the one.
Okay.
I didn't see. I don't even remember what the other one was called.
There was a point they were talking about in Sinners where they
was it?
said that priests have been replaced in vampire movies now.
With what?
Like it was like voodoo, like an old voodoo woman or something like that.
Who said that?
It was Jeremy Johns was talking about it in his review of it today. He said like the Catholic priest has kind of been removed from movies about
That's true.
vampires.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Okay, so there was The Pope's Exorcist, which came out in 2023. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other one was The Exorcism, also starring Russell Crowe. Okay, I saw the one where he played Father Gabriel Amorth, the Vatican's leading exorcist. And then in The Exorcism, he plays Anthony Miller, an actor struggling with addiction and a possible demonic possession while filming a horror movie. Okay, so I guess it was just a movie relating to possession. He didn't play a priest in both.
Okay.
Fair enough.
The point I was making is they said that in movies about vampires now, they don't have the priest anymore.
Well,
It's
Twilight doesn't have it.
It's been removed. It's no longer in vogue.
Twilight has neither. So
There's a Pete Donovan.
there are more.
Oh,
High
okay.
Voltage 75 said, "Is the cake boom or doom bread?"
It's a boom.
It's a boom.
It's a boom.
Certified boom.
It's a certified
I
boom.
like that they use a binary system, the Costco guys, because it's just like straightforward. Pop Culture Junkie said, "I can almost smell my mom's kitchen." It smells really good when it's baking with like the almond extract and everything. Shane H. Wilder said, "Carrot cake, yay or nay?" What do you say?
Not
hate
for
it?
me.
Not a fan.
Not for me. I'd rather have like lemon cake.
Well, I mean, it's cake. I'll eat it. But, like, I like carrot cake more than I expected to. It doesn't taste like carrots. It tastes like spiced, like, nutmeg and cinnamon and deliciousness. Yeah. The Manic Mustache said, wound... Wait, what does this say? Wound women should never be in leadership. Stay toxic, my friends. Hashtag bring back grapefruit Red Bull. Stay toxic, my friends.
I never had grapefruit Red Bull.
What does wound women mean?
Or is it wound?
Wound? I don't know. Pete Donovan said someone should remake the Seinfeld Soup Nazi episode, only this time George is on an airplane and Mary is the Pwetzel Nazi flight attendant who denies his request for free snacks. No Pwetzel for you.
There you go.
I would love that. Yep. Maybe I should just become a flight attendant so that I can make fun of people for getting pretzels.
Like, what you'll do is you'll offer it to them, but then make them feel really bad for taking it.
Oh, you want...
Oh, you actually want the pretzels. Oh.
Wow.
Oh, okay.
Wow. Not a lot of people say that. I'm going to have to go check in the back. Like,
Wait, you're like admitting that?
We don't really get those out that often because usually like people just kind of aren't hungry. But I mean, you must be really hungry. That's fine. You know,
sure.
No judgment.
Hold
on.
No
judgment.
Look, we listen. We don't
I will
judge.
get right on that. Yeah. Do you need anything else? Do you need a cookie? Even?
How about a bib?
I mean,
a bib?
How much food are we talking? Like, do we need a feast right now? It's not a very long flight, but like
and then you go like this.
I'm just trying to be helpful. Shane H. Wilder said, "Mary, you're thinking of the Sedlik ossuary in the Czech Republic made with bones of 70,000 skeletons." That is correct. Yeah, it's called an ossuary. Love that word. Maybe that's my favorite word in the English language.
There you go.
20 from Alejandro Reyes. I'm behind again on the stream. Can Mary do an impression of Brett doing an impression of Mary? You don't do impressions of me, though.
Correct.
When have you ever done an impression of me? When I'm not here?
I've never done an impression of you. Maybe Pwetzel.
Well, I mean, that's me doing an impression of, well, I don't know, adult children. I don't think you've ever even tried.
No, of course not.
I don't think I would be able to do an impression of you either.
That was your there's your answer, my friend.
Sorry.
Thank you, Alejandro.
Brian Bledsoe said, with your unsophisticated palate, wow, burn, lol.
I don't take
I
offense
mean,
to
it's
it.
true, though. Like, it's not even an insult if it's just the facts.
I mean, dorky people talk about sophisticated palates, so I don't care. Not you.
You like cheese pizza and like...
I only do that for literally the pizza we get here because the pepperoni and the pizza that we get here is disgusting.
You don't like it?
It's
Okay.
gross.
You're okay. Point is, you're a picky eater, and we all know that's true.
Yep. But
refuse
people,
to eat-
but people who talk about palates like it matters, they're kind of lame.
But you also refuse to eat like chicken nuggets like from McDonald's.
I had a bad experience with chicken nuggets from McDonald's when I was younger. That's why.
What does that even mean?
It was just I had one that was like a gross texture and consistency that tasted like undercooked or something. I never touched one again after that. That's a specific
What?
reason. I'll eat chicken nuggets from like other fast food places like Wendy's or Burger King.
Honestly, the McNuggets are the best in my opinion. But I think it's not about sophistication because I obviously love Taco Bell. I love fast food. I love eating junk food. I don't care. But I'm also willing to try like whatever else, even if it's weird, at least once.
I'll be completely okay with my unsophisticated palate.
You do that then. Okay, what else do we have? Jared Mary should have been a flight attendant based out of Vatican City. That sounds pretty baller. I would do that. Pete Donovan said, Mary, regarding your margarita mix-up story, Liam Gallagher said Paul McCartney once asked him if he liked margaritas, and he replied with, oh, I already ate. And Paul said, they're drinks. Oh, do British people not
They have margarita
know what-
pizza?
Yeah, the differences. Pop Culture Junkie said, key to visiting cake, blanch the almonds. That I didn't do.
There's what does that mean?
But you're supposed to wait until the almonds get golden brown on top. It wasn't advised in the recipe.
Wait,
though.
like to make them crunchier?
To pre-roast them, basically.
I like them better like that than whatever they're suggesting here.
Oh, okay.
This was the better
All right.
way. There's a 20
we
there
can
from
try
Darth Doza.
Oh, I didn't see that one. Driving from California to Texas, so thanks for the interruption. I'm iffy on going to space as a tourist also, Brett. You have great takes. Must be because you liked the original Ninja Turtles almost as much as I do.
Yeah.
It's tough competition.
Yeah. It's like getting in an airplane and just going straight up and coming right back down where you landed. Somebody in the chat says, does Brett even like Croatian or Balkan food? No, I don't. I don't even know what it is.
That's what I'm saying. You can't say that you
Yes, I
dislike it when
can.
you haven't tried it.
Yes, I can.
Like, that doesn't count.
Yeah.
Have you tried pierogies?
No.
That's Polish, right?
Nope. If I have, I was very young when it happened.
That's like if you said that you dislike pierogies, even though you've never had one.
We went out to we went out and got Mexican food last night, and I posted my California burrito, and everybody was like taking issue with like because it comes with like refried beans and rice in it, and people were like having a back and forth about it.
Refried
beans. There we go. Refried beans.
Greens.
But the point was it was very, very good, and people were having a back and forth about it.
What makes it a California burrito?
I have no idea.
You're just
Carne
calling
asada?
it that? Is it just called that?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know. Pete Donovan said, Dingus Khan said, imagine your plane crashes and your final meal was pretzels. See, that's another reason, another great reason not to eat the
because they have to do an autopsy, and they're like, his final meal was pretzels and Sprite.
Look at this clown.
Pretzels and Sprite.
Pete Donovan said, also margarita pizzas are based. Completely agree. Alvin McGoth said, I expect Tim to ignore my chats, but not you. I'm heartbroken and dead now.
What was your chat that was ignored?
What chat? I've read all of them now. I thought.
I don't know.
Or
was it the one earlier about hold on, I'm gonna
we have another 20
okay.
from Paul125. Hey Brett and Mary, while watching Chosen, I saw a trailer of a documentary about Carlo Acutis. Mary, would you consider him a saint? I found it something hearsay? I don't know. When people were saying he brought healing into their lives. Oh, do you mean heresy? Healing into their lives instead of God. So what they mean when they say that is that they have prayed to Carlo Acutis for intercession. That still means that it is in fact God who is healing the person, but like after Carlo Acutis has requested it himself because he's in full communion with God. That is the proper understanding of what we mean by that.
There is the Alvin McGough one that I'm guessing we missed.
We did read that one.
The dog got the guy got cucked by a dog.
Yeah, we
did we read that one?
Yes, we
That's
literally did.
You might not have been paying attention, Alvin.
I don't know, man. But he's not going to be a canonized saint until I think April 27th.
There's like a break-in period. There's like a waiting period.
They chose the date already, so that's when it's going to be official. I kind of wish that I could be there to attend it, but it was pretty last minute. Daniel Salinas said, hey, what would be a better crossover for Fast and Furious, Transformers or Back to the Future?
Transformers.
Yeah. Transformers. Wait, why haven't they done that? Thank you.
It's a very good question.
Was this the third one?
What?
This is the third party?
Yes.
Oh, we're already almost at a fourth.
Yep. We read that one, Alvin McGough. I think you just want your chat read again.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about dog cucking. That's weird.
All right, guys, before we go, hit the like button on this video and subscribe to the channel if you are new here and you have not subscribed here yet already. Put a girl on, apparently.
Okay.
Mary, where can they find you?
You can send me validation on Instagram at Mary Archived, or you can send me hate on X. That is also Mary Archived. And I should mention I will be on Timcast IRL this evening, so go catch me there.
On a Wednesday.
On a Wednesday.
Okay. Guys, if you want to follow me, Instagram and Twix at Brett Dasovic on both of those platforms. We are here 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is noon Pacific. Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, and Spotify. If you'd like to listen rather than watch, you can rate and review on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. That's always a great way to help the show. And if you want to follow us on social media, we are on Twix at PopCulture_show, Facebook at Pop Culture Crisis, Instagram at Pop Culture Crisis Pod. Guys, we'll be back with another episode tomorrow. We'll see you then.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.